We are fresh off the heels of a little 3-part miniseries we did where we looked at the price discrepancies in Generation 6 and how wacky that market is. But the madness doesn't stop there, folks. It continues on in Generation 7. Today we are going to look at the two powerhouse consoles from Gen 7, the PS3, the Xbox 360, and look at some price gaps between games that just don't make a whole lot of sense. What are we drinking today?
Today we're drinking Uncrispy Boy by Barntown. This is a pastry lager.
All right, I'm excited, I guess. You know the drill. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell icon so you never miss one of our bi-weekly uploads. And sit back, relax, pour yourself a beer if you care to, and let's jump into Generation 7 and take a look at some of these price gaps.
Nerd. Keep gaming, keep drinking, and keep gaming off the grid.
Analyzing the price gaps within specific generations was a really fun exercise we did on Generation 6. In case you missed those, you might want to check out that 3-part miniseries. Hopeless plug there. But it actually has been kind of a call to action for us, maybe some of you who watched. Like, we just got rid of our 3 games, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games on the GameCube.
Yeah, on the GameCube. And then we got the versions on the Xbox because they were way cheaper. It's basically the same game. We also sold our copy of Silent Hill on the PS2 because it's cheaper on the Xbox.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, we have these in our collection. Why not get the cheaper version and make a little money?
Use the money to buy other games with. So anyways, it got us kind of thinking, like, I wonder if this type of wackiness is going on elsewhere. We knew it was. We, hunt and flip things all the time. But today we're going to talk about the PS3 and some games that are more expensive on the PS3 than the Xbox 360. It's unique because both these consoles sold damn near the same amount in the generation. Xbox really leveled the playing field in a major way comparatively to what they did in Generation 6, and the consoles perform relatively close. I know some people might say the Xbox maybe a little bit,
but they're basically the same thing.
And there might be people, well, the PS3 fat's backwards compatible with PS1 and PS2, blah, blah, blah. But then these games on 360 are also backwards compatible in a lot of cases on the Xbox One and the Series X. So what is driving this? Let's take a look at the prices and maybe discuss what we think the root of all this evil is on the back end of things. So let's jump right in.
Yeah, speaking of evil, the first game we're going to talk about today is Splatterhouse, which is a phenomenal game. This game brings Splatterhouse into a new light in 3D. It is brutal, it is badass, it's intense.
The game's actually really freaking hard. I like it quite a bit. It's kind of expensive across the board. It clocks in at $77.94 on the PS3.
And on the 360, this game is $43.59, complete in box. That's a 56% difference. And in case you guys can't picture that math, that's 1.79 times the value.
Yeah, it's almost double the value to get the PS3 version. Now, there may be subtle differences on these. In a lot of these cases, we only have this game on one console.
Yep.
For instance, Splatterhouse. We have it on the Xbox 360, so we've never played the PS3 version, but it begs the question, would you pay double the money to play it on the PS3? If you're cheapskates like us, the answer would be like, sorry, Charlie, we're going to play it on the 360.
It's basically the same game, and I know for some of these, it dials down to what controller do you like better, what developer do you like better. But even then, it's
if you're arguing the controller, I'm a huge Sony fanboy, but the 360 controller is one of the best controllers ever made.
It is way better than the PS3 controller, so why is it more? It's just fascinating. Now let's move on to the next game, and that is Killer is Dead. On the PlayStation 3, this game is $37.16, so not that bad for a complete in box. But on the Xbox 360, this guy is $16.40.
Yeah, I mean, over double the value here, and the game doesn't perform very well actually on either console. I think the 360 version has better sound, so we've heard.
I've heard that both these games struggle with screen tearing, like terribly. So both these versions of these games suck, I feel like.
I think there's just an element, and I think we were going to talk about this more at the back end, but I just think there's, as we've done, this would be the 4th episode of similar fashion, there seems to be hardcore Nintendo fans. Sony fanboys and girls are not quite as hardcore, but they seem to be more loyal in their alliance than folks who are Microsoft or Xbox fans, who I think are just maybe getting the best console for each generation, so they don't maybe have the nostalgia? I don't know.
It's tough saying. It's just weird.
This next one, a Pixar film, I don't know, is it a Disney movie? Ratatouille?
Ratatouille, which is a phenomenal movie, but this game is middle of the road. I mean, if you like Ratatouille, it's kind of a kid...
I think it's a pretty decent
It's a fun platformer if you like the movie. But on the PS3, this game is $32.48. On the 360, it's $13.88, and it's basically the same game.
Some of those like Pixar-ish type games on the PS3, for whatever reason, I know the Toy Story game's hot. I think one of the Cars games is pretty good. One of the Shrek games sells for a decent amount. So here we are, Ratatouille. I think the game makes sense to be $13.18.
Yeah.
That seems
That's what I would
feasible.
pay for it.
But to be 2 times, almost 2.5 times the value on the PS3s is kind of like, why? I guarantee you that game sold about the same amount on each console. I don't know.
It doesn't make sense because this game got rated average reviews, and it's a fine game. It doesn't make any sense. But we're going to move on to the next game, and that is Tornado Outbreak. So if you guys are a fan of Katamari Damacy on the PS2, which is a really fun game, this game has a very similar vibe to that.
Like collect things to build your...
Yeah, and you're like destroying things like a tornado. It's a really sweet game, very unique. It's very fun. But on the PS3, this game goes for $79 complete in box. Wow, that's expensive. On the Xbox 360, it's $32.35. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
You know, this game, I knew it was on all 3 consoles from this generation. It's on the Wii, but I've seen it on more like Wii hidden gem videos than I have heard people talk about it on these other 2 consoles.
I feel like it would play better on these 2 than the Wii.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it does. It would have to, unless there's something fun with the motion controls, and I don't know. But, I mean, $80 on the PS3? I mean, I'm sure, obviously there's all sorts of factors at work. Somebody probably say in the comments, well, they only had that game out for 3.6 months, and then it was only sold in Canada.
And then it was discontinued because tornadoes got in trouble. Yeah. And they couldn't sell it anymore.
Cancel culture.
But I don't know.
The point is if you're looking at these games, if there's someone that's looking to get, some games on the PS3 and they have both consoles, let's kind of maybe look into this a little bit. Make some better buying decisions. You have more money to bet on football, to buy beer with, buy other video games with. I mean, yeah, I almost went what there, but I just couldn't pull it off. Lollipop freaking Chainsaw.
This is a badass game. I remember when this game came out, it was freaking hype. This game is so cool. On the PS3, this game goes for $60.90. On the 360, it's $23.22. Guys, that's 2.6 times the difference. That's insane. And it's basically the same game. I will say that the PS3 version does have slightly better visuals, but then the Xbox 360 has slightly better performance. But it's basically the same game. I don't get it.
Yeah, this game's an awesome comedic horror type of deal. And actually, there's already a game on this list from the development team. Killer is Dead. This is the development team behind No More Heroes. They've got plenty of other...
7.
Yeah, got plenty of other feathers in their cap. But Lollipop Chainsaw is a game it would have expected it to be a little bit more on 360 as well, like both be expensive.
Because it's a sweet game.
Yeah, and it just kind of flew under the radar. There were rumors, I think, back in like 2019 of a second one being made.
That'd be sweet.
But I don't know if that ever happened. I don't think it did, but maybe it did, and it just didn't fly across our radar.
I don't know.
It's hard telling.
Now let's move on to the next game on our list. This is a Konami game, Blades of Time. I will say that this game has its flaws, but it's still fun. On the PS3, this game is $65. Kind of expensive. On the 360, it's $13.99. Guys, that's over 4 times the value. You can get this game 4 times on the 360 for the same price it would cost you to buy it once on the PS3.
And this game is technically fairly flawed. There actually is a Switch port, which is dog shit.
Yeah, the Switch port, they didn't fix it at all. They just released it on the Switch, and it's terrible.
Some of the stuff I felt like that people complained about back when it came out for the time was kind of like, you can get past it. It's pretty fun, hack and slash. It's not innovating anything really. It's not turning the world upside down. It's a decent time. I would definitely pick it up if I saw it for $13.99 on the Xbox. No way in hell would I pay $65. Decent game. This is kind of the back end of Konami's, run. They haven't had a ton of great showings in the generations after this, but I mean, this game was cool. Not close to $70 cool.
It doesn't make any sense. I know the PS3 is hot right now. The market for it's going hot, which I don't understand why. Because you think if nostalgia plays into it, then why isn't 360 getting hot? Because they sold about the same amount of units. I personally, I like the 360 better than the PS3, even though I'm a Sony fanboy. I'm very confused on why the PS3 market's going crazy.
I think a big part of it is some of the Sony games, because of Sony's lack of adapting to backwards compatibility, are kind of locked in time.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I also think that if you can get the original fat PS3, there's a ton of value there. Because you don't have to dick with all these upscalers and all this other bullshit. You can just play PS1, PS2, and PS3 games on there. Now, those consoles are prone to fail. We've talked about all that type of stuff before. So I do understand it a little bit. But if you have both consoles, you know, and the console value's so much more than the 360 as well.
It's weird.
Across the board, not just the fats. We find PS3s and Xbox 360s, guys, I'm not even joking,
everywhere.
Almost every single day of the week.
I
picked up 2 Slims after work today.
I know they both are iffy and they are prone to fail and they have all these problems, but it doesn't make sense.
Well, PS3, once they got to the Slim and Super Slim, reliability, I feel like, is through the roof. The Fat Boys, I mean, I'm still rocking my original one. It's never done anything wrong. I haven't even done anything to it. I know I need to go in and change the thermal paste and all that. I'm just too lazy to do it. But we find this stuff all the time, so I guess I am a little confused as what is driving this price gap. Part of me just thinks there are people that are more nostalgic for Sony.
Yeah.
Because you know the people that are picking up PlayStations, because I have no problem selling Slims or Super Slims, so they're not getting them just for the sole purpose of only getting the fat for the backwards compatibility. There's something else going on there. It's hard to unravel, but it's good consumer knowledge if you are just getting into one of these 2 consoles, maybe both these consoles. We're always kind of a generation behind anyways.
Yeah.
So we've been playing a ton of this generation and Gen 6 because we just kind of, you get a backlog of games and you finally...
And there's awesome games in this generation to play.
And I mean, just recently we started playing Alan Wake. It's a game we've always known we need to play.
Yes.
We know it's badass, but it's like, it's getting to be fall. Let's play a survival horror game. Yeah, we never got around to Alan Wake. So I think there's a lot of that going on, but to say the root of these price gaps, there's just more to it than availability, because you already touched on the consoles sold about respectively the same. Performance, I don't really think that's the driver here, because arguably the 360 performs a little bit. It's pretty close. I love them both. 360 has a better controller. 360 offers a lot of backwards compatibility.
It's just weird.
Like moving forward, subsequent generations.
It's just really weird.
It's fun stuff to talk about, though.
You know what else is fun to talk about? Beer. Let's talk about this beer by Barntown. Uncrispy Boy. This is a pastry lager brewed with freeze-dried strawberries, vanilla sandwich cookies, strawberry shortcake muffins, and marshmallow fluff. Whoa.
Lagers don't tend to do well on our channel. I don't even know what to call this. It says a lager on the glass.
It looks like a lager.
There's so much flavor going on here.
Yeah.
I've never had a beer like this, which happens all the time when we're drinking Barntown Brewing, which is becoming one of our favorite breweries. Unfortunately, we get hit in the comment sections a lot. How do we get this beer? They don't even sell it in stores here. It's just only at the brewery, the tap room.
And every time we go to the tap room, there's a new selection of beers, so we can't get what we used to have. So it sucks.
Yeah, but they do some amazing stuff, and this is an amazing beer. Like, the flavor profile, as you read it, I'm like, yeah. I mean, I get all that. It's just a crazy... Strawberry shortcake just really hits it right on the nose.
Yeah, strawberry shortcake is what this tastes like, but in lager form, but still a lot of flavor. This beer is just a fantastic summer, crisp, flavorful beer that's not too heavy.
And it's not, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think it's too sweet.
No, it's the perfect blend.
Yeah, like you would think with that flavor profile, this would be like, Now, I don't know that I would want to plow through a couple of 3 or 4 of these. Nah, I'm good with one. We split one can amongst the 2 of us.
That's because we drank the other 3 of them.
Yeah,
before.
Sure. Yeah, over a couple week time frame. But yeah, this beer is really good. Barntown Brewing, if you are ever in the Des Moines or Central Iowa area, you gotta check them out. We had some friends of the channel stop in and try the Ecto Coolest. It was awesome. They sent us a little picture, and then they were like, "Yep, this was worth the drive." So if you're ever in the area, make sure you check them out. They have killer food too. And no, they don't sponsor us. They don't even know who the hell we are, but we know who they are, and they're badass.
Oh, so good.
Yeah,
so good. You know what else is good? Generation 7 video games. So. Most of you guys are probably like, okay, the PS3 is just hot in general. Most of the games, there are some games though that are more expensive on 360, which is another thing I don't understand why. Saw is more expensive on 360, which
marginally,
yeah, which is a decent game if you like the Saw franchise. Driver San Fran, slightly more on the 360. F1 2014.
Well, one of the best games ever, dude.
Racing, dude.
Yeah.
it's about $10 more on the 360.
And there's a game, that at face value you might look at and say, well, that's way more on 360 than PS3, would be the Marvel Ultimate Alliance Gold Edition.
Yes.
But the Gold Edition is not available on the PS3. So when you're looking at it, it looks pretty jarring, but it's really not, because the Gold Edition's it's got more content. It's the definitive version of the game.
It's the best way to play the game, so that's why it's more on the 360.
Yep.
It's just fascinating. I know we didn't talk about 10 in this episode. We only talked about 6 games in particular. But it's just, if you have cross-platform games in your collection, look at them. Or if you're at the store and you're looking to look it up. You're going to save money.
There may be some easy money, and I know when we just did it just recently with those 4 games we mentioned at the beginning of the episode. We're going to go to a convention and have like an extra $80 or $90 in our pocket just from being like, yeah, dude, I'm okay with that game on Xbox.
They're the same games.
Yeah, and, I think there may be a little bit of a groundswell eventually and we're already seeing it, for Gen 6 and Gen 7. I think there's a lot to be said on these consoles that weren't 100% dependent on the internet.
Yes.
Now, Gen 7, of course, you get into updates, patches, things like that. But the games can play when you put them in your console. Somewhere down the line, that's really going to matter to people, because all these updates, you can't even play a game day one on any of the new shit.
I was literally talking about that today at work.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
It is. When you're a working person and you maybe can carve out 30 minutes to just play a game, get the family out of the way, you want to play some games, and you put it in, you get that goddamn update. There's something to be said for every time I sit down and turn on the PS2, the sumbitch turns on, it works. I don't have to dick around.
Yeah.
Same thing with the cartridge-based stuff. It gets a little different, a little more divisive, I would say, on the Gen 7 stuff, but it is the last generation that can play discs just natively and raw dog it.
Which is awesome.
Without the internet.
Yeah, which is so awesome. I know this is the generation where online gaming took off.
Yeah.
But it's like the perfect blend of online gaming and still awesome gaming.
Being a real console.
Yeah.
It just doesn't, you don't put a disc in. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
It not just a download code.
It says, oh, hey, I'm a disc, but I'm really not. I'm actually a digital download code, bud. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
This is shifting into a different episode.
Oh, yeah, we could do a whole other episode about that. But we appreciate you guys tuning in and subscribing to the channel. Oh, wanna go for a ride? We'll see you next time right here on Gaming Off the Grid. Is that Smashing Pumpkins reference there, bud? Yeah, sure. See? Hey, wait, my name is Kurt Cobain. And sit back, relax, pour yourself a crispy boy if you care to, and let's take a look at some prices for the powerhouse consoles in Generation 7.
Damn,
Look at
that. Yeah. That was
Kind of
crisp.
felt like I got a little weird there in a couple spots in my head.
Really? I
Yeah.
thought it was smooth.
Let's just shoot one more, just in case.
That's so crispy, dude.
Let's give this buddy a whirl. How crispy is this boy? Anyways. Damn, that's really good.
It's such a good summer beer.
Yeah, really good. COVID.
Go. There it is. There it is.